Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are discussing a team that has the 15th overall pick in the NBA draft. I was only planning on doing all the teams in the lottery in this series where I go in depth into what each team should do with their first round draft pick, but the series has been doing so well that I decided to continue it with some teams that are just outside of the lottery, such as the Magic, the Trailblazers, the Timberwolves, the Mavericks. However, before we get into the Orlando Magic and what they should do with their first round pick, I want to remind you to leave a like and subscribe. I've been very happy with the support I've gotten on recent videos, and I hope to see that continue today. Now, without further ado, let's talk about what the Orlando Magic should do with the 15th overall pick. All of this is coming under the circumstances that none of the top 10 or 11 guys in the draft will be available. So LaMelo Ball, James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, Denny Avdia, Onyeka Okongwu, Killian Hayes, Tyrese Halliburton, Isaac Okoro, Devin Vassell, and Obi Toppin will not be discussed in this video. My first choice for the Magic with this pick would be Tyrese Maxey. I think Maxey is one of the more underrated players in this draft, and I think that he could be a very nice fit for the Magic. He, to me, is a combo guard who's going to be a good defender, can get some dribble penetration and create some nice open looks for his teammates, and also is going to grow into a solid jump shooter in the NBA. To me, that sounds like an above-average starter at either the 1 or the 2, and I am buying into that potential for Maxey. I think that he's a top 10 guy in this draft, and if you're getting him at 15, that's some excellent value. With the Magic, his ability to play either the 1 or the 2 could be a perfect fit alongside Markelle Fultz. That could be a devastating defensive backcourt. However, there obviously would be quite a bit of shooting questions because Maxey's jump shot, while it looks good and he shoots well from the free throw line, hasn't quite come along the way you would want it to, and Markelle Fultz is one of the worst shooters for guards in the entire NBA. So that pairing does scare me a little bit. However, I just think that Maxey is such a high value option here that if he's available with the 15th pick, the Magic should snatch him right up. My second option would be to look to trade up. Maybe you are packaging the 15th pick and Aaron Gordon and a future first round pick for either the first round pick from the Warriors or the first overall pick from the Timberwolves or the second overall pick from the Warriors. I think that both of those could be solid options for the Magic because you need some star power. You need someone to build around. Nikola Vucevic is a very, very good center, but I don't think that he's a person you can build around, and he is getting up there in age a little bit. He's in his high 20s, and I don't think that their contention could be centered around him. So they need to look for a new player who they can start this rebuild around. I don't think that Jonathan Isaac or Markelle Fultz is that. So giving up a guy where you have positional depth in Aaron Gordon at the power forward and a mid-tier first-round pick as well as a future first-round pick that probably will be either bottom of the lottery or outside the lottery. It doesn't seem like too big of a price to pay to get a LaMelo Ball or an Anthony Edwards. I also think that those are teams that would be willing to make this deal because obviously the Warriors are not a very deep team at the moment, and if they can bring in the 15th overall pick where maybe you can get a solid role player as well as Aaron Gordon, who would immediately become their 4th or 5th best player depending on how you view Andrew Wiggins, as well as future value with that future first round pick. The Warriors would love to do that, and the Timberwolves have a huge hole at the power forward position, unless you think James Johnson is the answer for them, but his lack of an offensive game does bring me questions. He is a solid defender, and that is important for them, and that should be valued by them, but I just don't think that he's a high enough caliber of player that he's the guy you want to be starting. Juancho Hernan-Gomez also has defensive struggles that would make me nervous about playing him alongside Karl-Anthony Towns for too much if you're looking to make a playoff push. So that's a move that I could see either of those two teams making. The Wolves are also down a first-round pick as they traded their first-round pick for next year. So if they can bring in another future pick and add, regain, a first, that could be a solid idea for them. So if Maxey isn't there or the Magic don't love him, I would certainly be looking to trade up and get your guy for a future, or the guy that you can rebuild around for the near future. My third choice for them would be Kira Lewis from Alabama. I had Lewis much higher. I had him in my top 10 at one point during this draft process, but he's a small guard. I have so many questions about the frame. Obviously, he's one of the more skilled players in the draft, and if he was 6'4", there'd be a lot less questions, but I just don't know if it's going to end up working out for him in the NBA. He's a very good shooter, though. He plays hard on defense and is a good team defender. He is very fast, one of the faster players in this draft, and is a solid transition guy for that reason. He has a really good in-between game with a nice floater. Can shoot the ball, but I just don't know how effective he'll be due to his smaller size. However, this is the 15th pick we're talking about, and if you can get one of the more skilled players in the entire draft with this pick, that's a very solid option, and I at least think the Magic should be considering it. My fourth choice for them would be to draft R.J. Hampton, who played with the New Zealand Breakers in the NBL, the Australian National Basketball League. Hampton has shown that he has very high potential in the past. However, he really struggled in the NBL as his skills aren't as highly refined. His handle is solid but not great. His shooting is not very good at all. That's really the swing skill with him, and he has a good motor and really gives it his all on defense, but sometimes he has questionable decisions on that end of the floor. So the athleticism is there, and if he can figure out the jump shot, there's a chance that he can be a very good NBA player and one of the biggest steals in this draft. However, there's enough questions about the other stuff that I think he could fall to 15, and if he is there, he would be a good option for the Magic as a guy they could pair up with Markelle Fultz in a backcourt for the future. Once again, a guy that would allow Markelle to play off the ball a little bit and could also bring some questions about having a backcourt partner for Markelle that also cannot shoot. So there's intrigue there for me, but once again, not my favorite option. However, the Magic do need guards. They are pretty solid at the forward and center spots, as they are actually having a surplus of big men into quite a few wings. So in this case, I'm really focusing on guards. That's why the top three guys that I listed here were all guards. But after those three in this part of the draft, I really think you have to start looking at wings. My next choice would be Sadiq Bey from Villanova. I think that Bey is going to translate to the NBA very nicely. He's a good playmaker, good passer, very good defender, both on the ball and team defender. Can shoot the ball pretty well. There's just questions about his athleticism. With the Magic, he would be an interesting fit as a guy who can guard 1 through 4. He could bring some positional versatility to them, something they've tried to have with Aaron Gordon in the past, playing Gordon at the 3 at times, which hasn't really worked out all that well. But in the end, I think that he overlaps a little bit too much with some of the other guys on their roster for them to very highly consider him and take him over guys like Maxey and Lewis. But he's an option for sure. And I really like Sadiq Bey, and if they draft him here, there's a chance that they end up getting above average starter moving forward, in my opinion. My next option for the Magic would be Patrick Williams from Florida State. Williams is one of the better defenders in this draft. He has a high motor. He is a very good team defender, very smart defensive player. On the ball, he's good, but not great. He still has room to grow there. And on offense, he's super raw at this point, but he is certainly a project. And if you do that project well and figure him out, he can end up being one of the better players in this draft. So Patrick Williams would certainly be someone I would keep my eye on if I were the Orlando Magic. They could think about trading down or out of this draft by trading this pick for an established veteran, probably someone to play one of the guard spots. An interesting idea could be something like Evan Fournier Evan Fournier is on a player option. I don't know. I'm just trying to theorize some trade ideas here. I don't really have any planned out because I don't think that this is a very highly scenario for the Magic. I think they're either going to make the pick at 15 or trade up. But, they could trade down or trade out of this pick if they so chose. My last option I have down would be to draft Aaron Nesmith from Vanderbilt. Very good shooter, has great shot mobility, can shoot the ball off the bounce, can shoot the ball off the catch and shoot, can catch it on the run, can shoot contested jump shots. In case you haven't noticed from what I've just said, he's a good shooter. However, I have enough questions about the rest of his game that I don't think that he would be my favorite option for the Magic, but he could provide some much-needed floor spacing for this team, and that could be a very useful guy for them to add into their young core. So, another interesting option to say the least. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you think the Orlando Magic should do with the 15th overall pick. That's it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all again very soon.